Welcome back to a brand new review for The Man Who Fell to Earth, episode 6, Changes.
Yes, sir.
Terrell here, and from Big O Belt Media, and I have Sam.
Yep. Yep. This is Sam from Team JVS. This is a Team JVS and Big Gold Belt Media collaboration, you guys. So we've never done anything like this, but maybe we'll do this in the future. But this is gonna be dope. I'm excited.
Both of our partners have abandoned us for better things, and
Right. We're kind of the peasants to the side. Like,
right,
what do y'all where y'all at? Y'all out of town? Oh, it's okay. All right, we'll
yeah,
take care of this. It's not like a big show or anything like that.
right. But hey, we're here to give you that review. We're not gonna miss nothing for you. We're gonna go through review, give you some spoilers for the episode, talk about our thoughts, ask some questions. Let's get right into it.
Yes, sir.
So of course we back with episode 6. And first off, we come right back in with Faraday explaining that he wants to be more human. He wants to experience more of the emotion. And we see that he's leaving a message for his wife in the same way that Thomas Newton did when he was on Earth, and he wants to be able to see through human eyes, so that he can better experience and emulate humans a lot better to understand, what he needs to do to be able to finish the project that they're working on to, of course, get fusions, because like that one thing that's missing that they need to finish this. What did you think about just kind of like what he was going through? And he talks about a lot of like, step by step of like what it means to be human through this episode. But what did you think about like the way that he was going about trying to be human, and the way they explained it?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is the last episode, him being so emotionally compromised last episode led into this perfectly. Because with this, it wasn't so much like him going through a metamorphosis. Yeah, he had a moment where he lashed out and got upset. He had
Right.
anger, but it was more so like he was dissecting all the different nuances of humanity. He was picking it from every single direction. Everything you did, like the way that this was directed, I loved it. I love the amount of content of trying to gut the pieces or the parts of humanity that are essential to making this work,
Right.
down to the fault, the guilt. And I think that the guilt aspect of what he had to do or what he did, the circumstance of what he did to Justin's dad is gonna change him for the rest of his life. All honesty, because I don't think that he's gonna come back from this. I think that he's gonna learn a very valuable lesson to it, as well as, of course, they progress to what they needed to get this to work as
Right.
well. But no, I think that he's gonna really feel responsible for this, and he's gonna have to carry that weight. Whereas before he didn't care. He was a drone. It's like, yeah, and I mean,
Right.
he didn't even supposed to be alive. He's gonna outlive me. It doesn't matter. He's turned into an alien. He's not gonna be able to have any consciousness anymore.
Right.
Like, but now he is understanding the gravity of it, because to be human is allowing him now to progress to where he needs to go next, which is fascinating to me.
Yeah, I never really, and not to get all deep, in this. I mean, that's what sci-fi is, right? Like taking like a, that different perspective from, but like I never really thought about what it meant, to be a human being. Like it's so
Right.
many the complexities of what it is to be human. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's so many different phases, so many different routes that you can take, so many different emotions. And like I said, I really like the direction here and the way they break that down and show you how complex we are. And one of the things that he talks about is how they don't do that. It's just either A or B. You know what I mean? You either follow in directions or you do your job. You know what I mean? Like you the
Right.
drone, you do A or B, and you know what I mean. Like so, for us, to him, it's too much. You know
Right.
what I mean? And he says that. And like you were just saying with the whole thing with Justin's father, as we know now, like at the time, he just did it without thinking of the consequence. You know what I mean? Because it was a means to an end to get her to come with
Right.
him.
Right.
So, like I said, and his emotional response to that is just like, yeah, okay, that's not important. Let's move on. This is what needs to happen. His priority. And like you said, like, I mean, like you said before, like as we see, like when we come into the show, we know where Faraday ends up. We know we're catching up to the present day timeline of everything that's going on. With that. But like I said, and when you see that first episode, his speech is different. He talk. You tell like this clearly works because he talks different and everything else. And like you said, he's observing humans to see what's going on. Then we get into your boy Crazy Old Spencer. And I don't know. It's like Jimmy Simpson is his real name, man. I don't know, like if he just signs up to be like the crazy guy, like every role. He's like, oh, I could be a bad guy, or I could be the crazy dude. Like sketch, like it just seems like I don't want to say he's typecast, but he winds up getting pulled off the project because he's getting a little too into it because of like past actions. What do you think about this guy so far, man, and what he's trying to do? Because I'm still confused as to like what is even the point of even taking down Thomas Newton in the first place. They really haven't gone to explanation of that. It's just like, all right, we're gonna use him to lead to him, but like, why are they trying to take out Faraday? What do you think about his actions up to this point?
I think Spencer has. I think that is something that hasn't been revealed yet. It's slowly getting revealed what the consequences of what he did, but they haven't really defined exactly what he did to screw so many people over. But I think it coincides with Thomas Newton in some way, shape, or form because, like, it's almost like a disbelief side. Like he's been trying to let people know the justification for his actions. Now you have an alien literally been here for 40 some years, and he's like, "Look, this is what it is." Now I'll say this: I think he's on a roll. I think that his actions and everything he's doing, like, it's malicious, it's dirty, it's grimy, but he's on a roll. The problem is he's getting too close to it. And the reason why she brought him in is because she knew he had enough dirt to get rid of him. Just as long as he gets the situation contained, I think that they're fine with letting him do it until a certain point. But at the moment that he has Thomas, it's going to slip through his fingers. And I don't think he's realized that she's using him. Like, she's been playing like this savior card to him. Like, I got you out of this. You wouldn't be doing this without me. But I really feel like they got as many tabs on him as he does on Thomas and Faraday and whoever else that coincide with them. So I think that his actions, I understand them, and I think he's good at his job. But I think that he's being really used, and I'm curious to see what was the weight of what he really did in the past. I'm waiting for like kind of like not a flashback, but just a real breakdown moment because they insinuated something like, what was it that he did? They talked about it in this episode.
They were saying something about there was an incident where he had to make some choice or do something, as agents do. They have to do whatever to justify the means of their overall, and the higher ups didn't like that. So
yeah, but she knew that up front. Like, it wasn't like he was already in the janitor's office. He was at the bottom of the janitor's office. She already knew that. So her bringing that up now is key. Like, oh, okay, well, either one, he's not producing results quick enough, or two, he's producing them so quick that we need to get this more contained because it's becoming more public. I really don't know, because at this point, we've only seen him and her. We haven't seen any other government officials. We don't know who else is connected. We do know that the original old guy that was partnered up, all the people connected to him died. Like, they were killed effectively. So I'm really curious to see what the government is really doing with this whole situation. They're about to pull the plug on him, but there's a means to this, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, from what they've shown so far, they definitely have had the situation pretty contained to like 3-4 people tops. Like, we really don't know who else is involved or what the case is, and their kind of like reception to, oh, yo, this dude is an alien. Everybody's just been like, all right, kind of whatever.
Right.
Like, cool about it. Not cool, but just like, all right, whatever. Like, we need this tech. We need to make this work.
Right. They weren't like, if I said to you, look, that movie, that Jordan Peele movie, yo, you know what? I actually seen one of them things. Like, they're actually real. You would be like, wait, hold on. Can we, what do you say? Like, you would be freaking out. You'd be like, no, what do you mean? So, none of them are doing that at all. But like you said, to your point, in this episode, Thomas Newton, like, the girl found where he was located, and she was like, he created the tornadoes. And she's like, where is this coming from? And so she was like, okay, right here. This is an underground bunker. Now, you trying to tell me this man had the company origin. He refortified how the technological advancement worked. They cut his eyes out. They cut into him.
Right.
And now he's just in an underground bunker. There's no way the government weren't involved in that. There's no way. They I'm willing to bet you they allowed him to do that.
Right.
Like some kind of way.
As
It don't make sense.
Spencer repeatedly says, like everything is a means to an end, right? Like the CIA had like a whole thing with origin and using the patents from Newton, which I mean they almost kind of Frankenstein them out of the the company. And we see like episodes back the experiments they did on him and yada yada yada. It just government sucks. You know what I mean? They always kind of panic. You always see like the perception of government is like they kind of their response to things is like we're gonna panic or it's always like a violent response to situations. So it almost comes off like they expect some type of retaliation from Thomas Newton and maybe they think that's what this is because of that situation. I think Faraday is a retaliation response to what they did to him. I guess they really haven't gotten into that, but like.
Nah,
well, I guess we'll see. We check back into like the previous episode after we see what was going on with Josiah, and the symptoms of whatever's been going on with him are getting worse because nothing comes without cost, right? Like you're not about to just as the doctors say throughout this episode, like this dude shouldn't even be. This is impossible. Like
it's a miracle, like straight up, yeah.
But we start to see him kind of lose himself. What were your first thoughts kind of thinking like what was about to happen?
Well, first off, shout out to my man playing the role of Josiah. He is killing it. Like,
yes.
It's not just the fact that he's got swagger. It's the fact that I can believe this man is a genius. I can believe, the personality, the vibe. Like, him and Hatch, like, as actors and as characters are very... I didn't expect them. I didn't expect them to elevate the show as much as they do, but they really do. But specifically with him, the first time my co-host Lucas, when we saw the last episode, he kind of just blinked for a second, and then he kind of immediately it was almost like he knew what was about to happen, and Lucas was like, that was weird. And I was like, it was weird. But in this episode, when he went to the guitar shop and he just started to play, and he said, I don't know how to play. And she's like, what? And he was just going. And I was like, yo, what is happening? And then all of a sudden, when the string hit, he just went like this. I was like, bruh. So for me, I thought it was amazing. The reason why I say that is because when he started to lose it, Justin started to lose it. She started losing on Faraday. When Faraday realized what was going on, he still had tact because he tried to tell Justin, like, look, this is what your dad's seeing. Like, this is connected to like the hive. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, get out of my house. And then he kind of had a moment. He let her have a moment. And then they really broke down what was happening. When that started to go, and he was like, whoa, this is music. This is sound. And like when it comes all to a head at the main location where they are building the device, honestly, that could have come off so cliche and cringy, but for some strange reason, the way they did it, the build up for it, it was almost near perfect to me because the music was well orchestratedly done, and the build up for it was well done. It was acted well, but it's like that scene shouldn't work. Like realistically, like in the wrong hands, that scene should have been terrible. But it worked in the sense that like all this whole entire time, Faraday was talking, from the first person, third person standpoint, telling us as the narrator, and then it all came to a head at this specific finite moment. So I thought it was perfect the way that they used his character, but I'm sad to say I don't think we're ever going to see him the same way again. Because now he's effectively, whatever the classification of the race of Thomas and Faraday is, he's becoming more like them. Now, what will be interesting is the only way for him to sustain himself or survive, he had to go back to Faraday and there's planet. That would be interesting. Because I think that they said something on the lines like I don't know when he would die. Like his lifespan.
He's going to live longer.
Right. He could live longer than me. I think that's what he said, right? Did he say that to Justin or to him?
No, I think he was saying to Justin, like he's gonna live longer than her. Like,
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, man, because like, on one hand, you could think about that as he's allowed you to have more time with your dad than you were supposed to have from the beginning. So any moment, past that point, it was a gift. And so, I mean, but it's the way that Faraday, comes across, the whole relationship with her dad and her daughter is like they're burdens. They're not necessary to what he's trying to do. He has a goal of his own. And as we periodically see, we start to see more of like Faraday's, family, and his wife and everything like that, and the Hoth planet, and a little bit more of what that planet looks like and how it operates. Which I'm really glad that like this show is starting to get more and more into the science fiction, because that's what I'm coming here to see. You know what I mean? I want to see more alien stuff, because for a while it was like, all right, when we're really going to see something that's like sci-fi or whatever. It was real tame at first. They really didn't really go into anything. But I'm glad to see like apparently these people on this planet don't look too far from humans. Everybody got afros and cornrows apparently on this alien planet.
I forget what was it? Was it Thomas that said this, or was it I think it was Watt. I think Watt said that last episode, something along the lines of the planet Earth and this planet in some way, shape, or form like are connected or interconnected in some way, shape, or form. And it's like part of Earth rubbed off on that planet and vice versa. And that was the reason why they needed to go to Earth to find sustainability. So it's like a legit weird thing going on with the connection of how the planet came to be. But I think you're right. One thing I was going to ask you is when he fixed the dad, we know it was all a means to an end, but did he, I don't think that he thought about the side effects or the ramifications of what could be, because I was like, well, maybe he just didn't care, and he was like, well, the dad's gonna be here with the daughter, it'll be fine, we're gonna get this taken care of. And then he kept on, because the thing is, it's pause for both, because every time she was talking about going back, he was like, no, we got to complete the mission. Like, it's going to take me 3 days to get them. No, we got to complete the mission. Like, every time that she was trying to bring the family close, it was almost like he was apprehensive about it. But I really, in my part of hearts, I don't think that he knew the ramifications of it, because I don't think he thought about it. I really don't think he thought about it. I don't think it was a malicious thing that he was like, well, I did this, and it is what it is. I mean, her child's going to be alive. It's okay. Right. But I don't know. What do you think?
Like I said, I mean, I when you see like his attitude when he first got here, like it was straight to the mission, and I'm not sure of the timeline of like how long he's been there so far, because they've kind of been skip. Like, so I'm not really sure if it's been like a couple weeks or months or whatever the situation has been, but you see like him change, right? Like you see